Seniors over 60, top 5 nuts for kidney support and 5 to avoid. You read that right. Now I know some of you might be thinking, wait, nuts? I thought they were healthy. Or maybe you're wondering, I've been eating almonds for years, is that a problem? Well, here's the truth. Not all nuts are created equal, especially when it comes to aging kidneys. In fact, some so-called healthy nuts could be silently pushing your creatinine levels higher, increasing inflammation and stressing your kidneys without you even realizing it. And here's the kicker. One of the most popular health nuts that shows up in vegan snacks and plant milks might be doing more harm than good, especially for seniors over 60. Stick around and I'll show you exactly which ones to eat, which to avoid, and why. But before we jump into the list, can I ask you a small favor? If you find value in content that's science-backed, easy to understand, and made just for seniors, then hit that like button, share this video with someone you love, and subscribe to our channel. It gives us the motivation to keep creating powerful videos that support your health every single week. So grab a pen, maybe a handful of kidney-friendly snacks, and let's dive into the truth about nuts and kidney health after 60. Why creatinine is more than just a number. Creatinine is more than just a number. It's your kidneys asking for help. It's a waste product your body makes when muscles break down, and healthy kidneys usually filter it out without a problem. But when levels rise, it often means your kidneys are no longer doing their job as well as they should. Many people ignore it, thinking it's just another lab result, but it's actually one of the earliest signs of kidney trouble. Over 37 million Americans have chronic kidney disease, and most don't even know it. Why? Because early kidney damage often comes with no symptoms. That's why your creatinine level matters. It may be the only sign something's wrong before things get serious. As a kidney doctor, I've seen this story play out more times than I can count. A small change in creatinine leads to big changes in life, unless you act early. And one of the most overlooked ways to support your kidneys is through what you eat. Nuts, for example, are commonly seen as healthy, but some can actually make things worse if your kidneys are already struggling. If you've never looked at the phosphorus or potassium content in your favorite snacks, now's the time. Some nuts are loaded with these minerals, which healthy kidneys can handle, but damaged ones cannot. I always tell my patients, food isn't neutral, it either helps or harms. So next time you see your creatinine creeping up, don't brush it off. It's not just a number, it's a message. And the good news is, with the right food and habits, you can often take control before things get worse. Top 5 kidney-friendly nuts based on real-world cases. Number 1. Walnuts, the anti-inflammatory hero. Walnuts are one of the best nuts you can eat if you're managing high creatinine. They're rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 that helps reduce inflammation, not just in your joints or heart, but inside your kidneys too. Inflammation is a key factor that silently damages kidney tissue over time, and walnuts offer a natural way to push back. 1 ounce of walnuts, roughly 14 halves, gives you about 2.5 grams of ALA. They're also relatively low in phosphorus, at around 98 mg per ounce, and contain a moderate amount of potassium, making them a safe choice for people with chronic kidney disease. I've seen the difference firsthand. Joan, one of my patients, was 68 and used to snack on salty chips. Her creatinine had been rising slowly, and she felt tired most days. I suggested she switch to raw, unsalted walnuts. 3 months later, her creatinine had dropped slightly, and her energy was back. She told me, "I didn't change much, just my snacks." That's the power of small, consistent choices. Studies even show that plant-based omega-3s like ALA can help slow kidney function decline over time. So let me ask you, when you snack, are you choosing something that supports your kidneys or something that stresses them? Stick to raw or dry-roasted walnuts without added salt, sugar, or preservatives. 1 small handful a day can go a long way in helping your kidneys do their job. Number 2, macadamia nuts, the smooth protector. Macadamia nuts are one of the safest and most underrated options for people with high creatinine or kidney concerns. They're extremely low in both phosphorus and potassium, only about 53 mg and 104 mg per ounce, respectively, which makes them gentle on kidneys that struggle to filter minerals. But what really makes them special is their fat profile. They're rich in palmitoleic acid, a rare monounsaturated fat that helps improve insulin sensitivity, especially important if you have diabetes, which is the #1 cause of chronic kidney disease. One of my patients, Tom, age 72, swapped his daily peanut butter toast for a macadamia pesto on roasted vegetables. 2 months later, his fasting blood sugar improved, and his kidney numbers held steady. Macadamias are rich, satisfying, and surprisingly versatile. I often recommend blending a handful into a homemade pesto with basil, garlic, lemon, and olive oil. It's creamy without the dairy and flavorful without the salt. Just be mindful, macadamias are calorie-dense, so stick to about 5 or 6 nuts a day. Skip the flavored or salted kinds and choose raw or dry-roasted versions. Have you ever looked at the ingredients in your favorite nut snacks? If there's added sodium, sugar, or preservatives, your kidneys may be paying the price. Making smart swaps like this can be a small step with a big impact. #3. Hazelnuts, the silent supporter. Hazelnuts are a quiet but powerful ally for kidney health. They're rich in antioxidants, especially vitamin E and polyphenols, which help fight oxidative stress, a key factor in kidney inflammation and long-term damage. But their biggest strength is how they support blood vessels. Healthy circulation is essential for nephron function, and hazelnuts help keep those tiny kidney filters working efficiently. One of my patients, George, age 75, used to snack on cookies every evening. I encouraged him to switch to a handful of dry-roasted hazelnuts instead. 2 months later, he'd lost 6 pounds, felt more energetic, and his kidney numbers had stabilized. It wasn't a diet, it was a simple change with real results. Studies also show that hazelnuts improve endothelial function and reduce inflammation, which means better blood flow to your kidneys. If you choose to add them to your diet, go for unsalted, raw, or dry-roasted versions and stick to about 10 to 12 nuts a day. Let me ask you, what do your daily snacks look like? Are they quietly working for your kidneys or slowly working against them? Hazelnuts may not be flashy, but they can make a big impact over time. #4. Brazil nuts, tiny dose, massive impact. Brazil nuts may be small, but they deliver a powerful punch when it comes to kidney health. Just 1 nut a day provides all the selenium your body needs, an essential mineral that supports your antioxidant defenses and helps lower inflammation, which is especially important for those with chronic kidney disease. Selenium deficiency is common in kidney patients and can lead to immune dysfunction and faster kidney decline. But these nuts are strong medicine, not a snack food. Eating more than 1 or 2 daily can lead to selenium toxicity, which may cause nausea, hair loss, or nerve issues. I've seen it happen. One patient, Claire, thought more was better and started eating 6 a day. Her selenium levels spiked, and we had to pull back quickly. I recommend eating just 1 Brazil nut daily, ideally raw or lightly roasted. It's an easy addition to oatmeal or a low-potassium fruit mix. But here, that's the key, respect the dose. With Brazil nuts, less really is more. Are you tracking the hidden nutrients in your foods, or are you assuming healthy equals harmless? Knowing the difference can protect your kidneys and your overall health. #5. Pine nuts, gentle and versatile. Pine nuts are a great choice for those with kidney concerns because they're naturally low in oxalates, which helps reduce the risk of kidney stones, especially calcium oxalate stones. Unlike more common nuts like almonds, pine nuts also provide a good amount of magnesium and zinc, 2 minerals often overlooked in kidney health. Magnesium helps with blood pressure regulation and muscle function, while zinc supports immune function and tissue repair, both critical for people managing chronic kidney disease. One of my patients, Lorraine, 63, had frequent kidney stones and was unknowingly loading up on high oxalate foods. We adjusted her meals by replacing almonds and spinach with quinoa, cucumbers, and pine nuts. Not only did her stone risk drop, but her digestion and energy levels improved too. Pine nuts are easy to use. Just sprinkle a tablespoon over a salad or add to roasted vegetables. Their soft crunch and mild, buttery flavor blend well without overwhelming other ingredients. As with all nuts, keep portions modest and store them in a cool, dry place to prevent spoilage. Have you considered how small swaps like this could support your kidneys? Sometimes, it's the gentlest foods that have the most powerful effect. Top 5 nuts to avoid with high creatinine. #1. Almonds, the oxalate trap. Almonds are often seen as a healthy choice, but for people with kidney issues, they can quietly do more harm than good. 1 ounce of almonds contains about 137 mg of phosphorus, which may sound moderate, but it adds up quickly, especially when your kidneys aren't able to clear excess minerals from the bloodstream. What's more concerning is their high oxalate content. Oxalates can bind with calcium in the kidneys, forming calcium oxalate stones, the most common type of kidney stone in patients with chronic kidney disease. Even products made from almonds, like almond flour, almond butter, and especially almond milk, can pose serious risks. I remember one of my patients, Mark, age 60, who switched to almond milk thinking it was the healthier option over dairy. Within a few months, his creatinine spiked, and he felt increasingly fatigued. When we reviewed his diet, almond milk showed up as a daily staple. The problem wasn't just the almonds, it was the phosphate additives in commercial almond milk. These added phosphates are highly absorbable and far more damaging than natural sources. Once we removed the almond milk and replaced it with a kidney-safe alternative, his labs began to improve. Have you checked the labels on your plant-based milks or nut products lately? Do they list ingredients like phosphate, potassium chloride, or phosphoric acid? These additives are everywhere and often marketed as healthy. According to research from the National Kidney Foundation, inorganic phosphate additives can raise phosphorus levels more than natural sources and increase the risk of vascular calcification. If you're already dealing with high creatinine or early-stage kidney disease, almonds are best avoided or limited to very small portions, especially if you've had kidney stones before. So ask yourself, is your healthy habit truly kidney-safe? A closer look at the ingredients might save your kidneys from unnecessary strain. Number 2, cashews, creamy but costly. Cashews are known for their smooth, buttery texture and often show up in plant-based recipes like vegan cheese, creamy sauces, or snack bars. But behind that appealing taste lies a big issue for kidney health. Cashews are high in both phosphorus and potassium, about 168 mg and 190 mg per ounce, respectively, which makes them risky for anyone with reduced kidney function. Your kidneys are responsible for filtering out these minerals, and when they're struggling, even moderate amounts can throw your levels off balance. What makes cashews particularly sneaky is how often they're used in healthy, processed foods. Vegan products like dairy-free dips, nut-based creamers, and even nutrition bars often use cashew paste or flour to mimic creaminess. The problem? These processed versions frequently contain added preservatives and phosphates to extend shelf life or improve texture, ingredients that hit the kidneys hard. I've had multiple patients with stable labs suddenly see their creatinine rise or their potassium levels spike, only to find out they had unknowingly been consuming large amounts of cashew-based foods. One patient, Mia, loved vegan cheese and switched to using it daily. Within 3 months, her GFR dropped. We traced it back to the cashew content combined with phosphate additives listed under names like dipotassium phosphate and sodium hexametaphosphate. Are you checking the ingredient lists on your favorite health foods? Have you noticed how many include cashews or hidden phosphate additives? According to recent clinical data, inorganic phosphates in processed foods are absorbed up to 90%, far more than naturally occurring forms, and they're strongly linked to faster kidney decline. If you're managing kidney health, it's not just about whole foods but the additives that come with them. Cashews can be enjoyed in very small amounts if your labs are stable, but daily consumption, especially in processed form, can push your kidneys beyond their limits. So next time you grab a clean label snack, ask yourself, is it really as kidney safe as it looks? Number 3, chestnuts, the holiday spike. Chestnuts might feel nostalgic, especially during the holiday season, but for anyone managing kidney issues, they carry serious risks. A single serving contains about 500 mg of potassium, an amount that can be dangerous for those with impaired kidney function. Their high glycemic index also causes rapid blood sugar spikes, which can be especially risky for patients with both kidney disease and diabetes or insulin resistance. I once treated a patient who ended up in the ER right after Christmas. He had indulged in a large bowl of roasted chestnuts coated with a sugary glaze, assuming they were a better choice than cookies or pies. Within hours, his potassium levels surged, causing irregular heart rhythms and severe fatigue. Have you ever considered how quickly holiday foods can throw off your kidney numbers? Do you track your potassium intake when enjoying seasonal dishes? Most people don't, and that's the trap. Chestnuts are low in fat, which makes them seem healthier than other nuts, but their carbohydrate content is high, about 45 grams per 100 grams, and that adds pressure to blood sugar control. Another layer of risk comes from how they're prepared. Roasted chestnuts sold by vendors or in cans often come salted or sweetened, adding sodium and hidden preservatives. High sodium contributes to water retention and elevated blood pressure, both of which further burden the kidneys. According to nephrology research, high potassium combined with sudden blood sugar shifts can create a dangerous cycle of inflammation and vascular stress in people with stage 3 or higher kidney disease. If you must include chestnuts, keep it minimal. No more than 2 small pieces, unsweetened, and spaced well away from other potassium-rich meals. Are your holiday traditions costing you more than you realize in your health? With chestnuts, a little awareness could save you from a major setback. Number 4, pecans, calorie bomb in disguise. Pecans often sneak into our diets under the label of heart-healthy fats, but for people with kidney disease or diabetes, they can be more of a burden than a benefit. While it's true they're lower in phosphorus and potassium compared to almonds or cashews, pecans are incredibly calorie-dense, over 200 calories and 20 grams of fat per ounce. That's a small handful packing a big nutritional punch, and not always in a good way. If you're already managing weight issues or insulin resistance, those extra calories can lead to unintended weight gain, which in turn worsens kidney function by increasing blood pressure and metabolic stress. I've seen patients who thought they were making a better snack choice by switching from chips to pecans, only to find their weight and glucose levels creeping upward. Have you ever tracked how many calories you're actually eating when snacking on nuts? Are you considering portion sizes, or just assuming natural means harmless? Many of my patients are surprised to learn that even a quarter cup of pecans can set them back nearly 300 calories. For someone on a calorie-restricted or renal diet, that's significant. A 2021 study published in Clinical Nutrition found that excessive calorie intake, even from so-called healthy fats, correlates with faster GFR decline in adults with chronic kidney disease. That's because the kidneys already work harder to manage metabolism and waste removal when excess body weight and insulin resistance are present. If you enjoy the taste of pecans, you don't have to cut them out entirely. But you should be hyper-aware of portion control. Think a teaspoon, not a handful. And avoid pecan-based desserts or trail mixes loaded with sugar, honey coatings, or chocolate chips, which make them even more damaging. Are you really eating a healthy snack, or just indulging in a different disguise? When it comes to kidney health, even good fats have to be managed with care. Number 5, pistachios, portion danger. Pistachios are often seen as a fun, colorful snack, but they can pose hidden risks for those with kidney concerns. Each ounce contains around 290 mg of potassium and 137 mg of phosphorus, both nutrients that need to be carefully monitored when kidney function is impaired. While they offer some fiber, protein, and vitamin B6, the real issue is how easy they are to overeat, especially when pre-shelled. Without the shell as a barrier, people can easily snack mindlessly, consuming several ounces before realizing it, quickly adding hundreds of milligrams of minerals that can tax the kidneys. Have you ever caught yourself blowing through a bag of shelled pistachios while watching TV or working? It's a common habit I see in clinic. One patient, Linda, thought she was doing everything right, eating plant-based, low sodium, but her potassium level kept creeping up. After reviewing her diet, we discovered she was going through nearly half a cup of shelled pistachios daily. Portion control is key here. I recommend limiting intake to 10-15 raw, unsalted pistachios per day, and pairing them with water-rich, low-potassium veggies like cucumber or celery to balance out the mineral load. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that mindful eating strategies, like pre-portioning high-mineral foods, can significantly reduce unintentional overconsumption in kidney patients. Also avoid red-dyed or flavored versions, which can contain unnecessary additives, sugar, and sodium. Instead, choose raw or dry-roasted pistachios with no added salt or preservatives. Are your healthy snacks being measured, or do you just eat until the bag's empty? When it comes to kidney health, moderation isn't just wise, it's essential. Bonus, one simple habit that changes everything. In all my years working with kidney patients, one habit consistently shows up in those who improve: daily walking. Even a 20-minute walk each day, especially when paired with 5 minutes of box breathing, inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4, and exhaling for 6, can make a real difference. This simple routine improves circulation to the kidneys, lowers cortisol levels, and promotes better overall recovery. I remember Michael's dad, who started walking each morning while practicing these breathing exercises. Within weeks, his blood pressure dropped, his sleep improved, and his kidney labs began trending in a better direction. The best part? No special equipment, no cost, just fresh air and consistency. Scientific research backs this too. A 2022 study in Kidney 360 showed that patients who walked regularly had slower CKD progression and improved lab markers. And structured breathing calms the nervous system, reducing blood pressure and inflammation. Are you moving enough during your day? Have you tried combining it with breathing exercises? This one small habit could be your most powerful medicine. Doctor's final thoughts, what I tell every patient. You don't need a perfect diet to support your kidneys, you need an intentional one. It's about choosing foods that work with your body, not against it. I tell every patient this. Your kidneys are strong, but even strong organs need the right kind of support. When it comes to nuts, some are healing and others can be harmful. The ones I recommend most often are walnuts, macadamia nuts, hazelnuts, pine nuts, and Brazil nuts, but just one per day. These options are lower in phosphorus and potassium, and many contain anti-inflammatory compounds that protect kidney tissues. On the flip side, almonds, cashews, chestnuts, pistachios, and pecans should be limited or avoided. They're either too high in oxalates, phosphorus, or calories, and for someone with kidney issues, that can make all the difference. I've seen patients who thought they were eating clean but were unknowingly raising their creatinine levels with healthy snacks. Always read your labels, keep portions small, and remember, even the right food in the wrong amount can set you back. Are the choices in your kitchen helping your kidneys fight or making them fight harder? Let's recap what we've learned today. If you're over 60 and your kidneys are working harder than they should, the foods you choose, even something as small as a handful of nuts, can make a powerful difference. Stick with walnuts, macadamia nuts, hazelnuts, pine nuts, and Brazil nuts in moderation. And be cautious with almonds, cashews, chestnuts, pistachios, and pecans, especially if you're already managing high creatinine or kidney disease. Remember, you don't need to be perfect, just intentional. And every good choice you make today supports your kidneys tomorrow. I hope this video gave you clarity, confidence, and maybe even a new favorite snack. If it helped you, please do me a favor, tap that like button. Share this with a loved one over 60 who's trying to stay healthy. And subscribe to our channel for more honest, easy-to-follow senior health tips every single week. Thanks so much for watching. Your time and trust mean everything to us. Take care of your kidneys and they'll take care of you. See you in the next video.